Have you ever wondered why some people seem to grow lonelier as they age, despite their best intentions? It's not just about getting older. Unseen habits can quietly push loved ones away, making life harder and less fulfilling. Emma, a 68-year-old retired teacher, was once the heart of her community, but over time, her phone stopped ringing, and invitations dried up. She didn't realize her small, everyday behaviors were building walls between her and the people she cherished. This video uncovers the subtle habits that can make aging lonelier and more frustrating, and most importantly, how to break them for a happier, more connected life. You need to watch this video until the end because it reveals 9 critical habits that could be silently shaping your relationships and quality of life. From negativity to resisting change, these behaviors are common but often unnoticed, and their impact grows over time. You'll discover practical, actionable steps to transform these habits, like how Emma rekindled her connections by embracing positivity and openness. Number 7 is a surprising game changer that most people overlook until it's too late. Whether you're noticing distance in your relationships or want to age with grace and joy, this video offers life-changing insights. Plus, you'll hear relatable stories and tips you can apply today to stay vibrant and connected. Don't miss out. Watch to the end and share your thoughts in the comments to join the conversation. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Becoming too negative or critical. Emma never really saw herself as a negative person. To her, she was simply being honest, just stating facts and sharing her true feelings. But as the years quietly piled up, something shifted inside her. The cheerful, easygoing woman she once was started to fade beneath a growing cloud of complaints and grumbles. She'd wake up each morning with a familiar ache in her knee, and instead of accepting it, she'd find herself sighing deeply and lamenting how getting old sucks. The world around her felt overwhelming and disappointing. Watching the news only seemed to deepen her frustration, and she'd often mutter, "What has this world come to?" When she talked with her younger relatives, her words dripped with judgment, and she'd roll her eyes at their choices. "Back in my day, things were different. People had more respect," she'd say, as if that simple phrase could explain everything. At first, Emma barely noticed how her attitude was affecting those around her. Slowly but surely, the warmth in her conversations began to chill. Friends started avoiding the deeper talks they once cherished, steering conversations away from anything that might spark another round of complaints. Even her beloved grandkids, who once ran into her arms with excitement, started finding reasons not to visit, little excuses that made her heart ache without her fully understanding why. What Emma didn't realize was that negativity, no matter how justified or sincere, has a way of draining the spirit, not just her own but everyone nearby. People don't want to walk away from a conversation feeling heavier, sadder, or more burdened than when they started. I've seen this happen with people I care about, and I've felt it myself at times. It's so easy to fall into the trap of constant criticism, especially when life feels uncertain or unfair. The world is spinning faster than ever, changing in ways that often feel uncomfortable or even frightening. Our bodies betray us with aches and pains that weren't there before. Everyday tasks that once came naturally, whether it's grocery shopping, driving, or even learning a new app on a phone, can suddenly feel like insurmountable challenges. It's natural to want to vent, to express frustration, to feel heard. But when negativity becomes the default, it's like a heavy fog that pushes people away rather than drawing them close. So, how do we break free from this cycle? I believe it starts with a conscious choice, a small, deliberate shift. Instead of opening your mouth with a complaint, try starting with something positive. Share a moment of gratitude. "I woke up feeling surprisingly good today. The sunset last night was stunning." Or, I read an interesting article this morning that made me smile. Believe me, positive energy is contagious. People are naturally drawn to those who bring light and warmth, not weight and gloom. You might even try setting a complaint timer for yourself. Allow 2 minutes to vent, and then gently steer your thoughts towards something hopeful or constructive. Another powerful change is to replace criticism with curiosity. Instead of dismissing new trends, technology, or ideas as silly or pointless, ask questions. If your grandchild is obsessed with some new app or game, say, "Tell me more about that. I want to understand." These small moments of genuine interest can build bridges across generations, opening hearts and minds. On the other hand, relentless criticism only builds walls that isolate us from the people we love. Emma's story took a hopeful turn when she realized how much her negativity had quietly pushed others away. She began to practice leading conversations with positivity, sharing small joys, and expressing curiosity. The change wasn't overnight, but it was real. Friends lingered longer, conversations became richer, and the laughter that had once dimmed returned to her life. Most importantly, Emma felt the warm, healing power of connection rekindle in her heart. So, take a moment and reflect. When you talk with others, are you drawing them in with your light, or are you unknowingly pushing them away with complaints? Sometimes, the smallest shifts in how we speak can transform our relationships and our lives in ways we never imagined. Number 2. Ignoring personal hygiene and appearance. Emma was always someone who took great joy in her appearance. She loved dressing up, her closet bursting with colorful blouses that seemed to mirror her bright spirit. Every day, she wore a signature scent, a small ritual that made her feel ready to face the world, and she took pride in styling her hair just so, a moment of self-care that was both comforting and empowering. But as the years quietly passed, something inside Emma began to shift. It wasn't sudden, but rather a slow, creeping change that many might not notice at first. At the beginning, it was the little things. She stopped wearing makeup, thinking it no longer mattered. Hair appointments became fewer and farther between because, honestly, she felt too tired or maybe a little invisible. The colorful blouses gave way to baggy, shapeless clothes. Comfort became the priority, and the idea of dressing up felt like an unnecessary effort. Deep inside, Emma wrestled with a quiet resignation. Why bother? I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore. That thought, I believe, is one of the most heartbreaking things about aging. The feeling that you no longer matter or that your presence somehow loses its sparkle. Days turned into weeks where Emma didn't bother changing out of her house clothes. She rarely glanced in the mirror anymore, convincing herself that it was all irrelevant. But beneath that surface, there was a gnawing sense of loss. Something important was slipping away. She noticed subtle changes around her. People treated her differently. Strangers who used to smile and compliment her cheerful outfits now barely met her eyes. Invitations from friends became rare, and the vibrant woman in old photographs felt like a stranger she once knew but had somehow lost. What Emma didn't fully understand then was that how we present ourselves is more than skin deep. It affects how others see us, yes, but even more crucially, it shapes how we see ourselves. Taking care of your appearance is not vanity or superficiality. It's a profound act of self-respect and love. It's about holding on to your confidence, your identity, and your place in the world. For anyone feeling this way, here's what I deeply believe. It's never too late to reclaim that part of yourself. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Start small. Get dressed every day, even if you're staying home. You don't need fancy clothes. Just something clean, well-fitting, and that makes you feel good when you look down. I've seen firsthand how wearing something you love, even a simple blouse or a favorite pair of shoes, can brighten your entire day. Maintain your hygiene routine, not just for others, but as a powerful message to your mind that you matter. Shower regularly, trim your nails, brush your hair, and moisturize your skin. These aren't just chores, They are acts of kindness to yourself, gentle reminders that you are worthy of care. Colors have incredible power. Wearing bright or well-coordinated outfits can lift your mood and restore that sense of being put together. Add a meaningful accessory, a cherished watch, a pair of earrings that make you smile, or even a spritz of your favorite perfume. These little touches can rekindle joy and help you reconnect with your sense of identity. When Emma finally began these small but meaningful steps, brushing her hair again, slipping into her favorite blouse, applying a touch of lipstick, something magical happened. People's smiles returned when she entered a room. She felt lighter, more alive, and most importantly, like herself again. Your appearance is not just a reflection of your outer self. It's a mirror of your inner world. When you care for yourself, you send a message to the world and, more importantly, to your own heart. I am here, I matter, and I am still vibrant and fully engaged in life. Number 3. Becoming stubborn and resistant to change. Emma had always been a woman of habit, someone who found comfort in the familiar patterns of her daily life. For decades, she followed her routines with quiet pride, believing firmly that if something had worked well for so long, why fix what isn't broken? This mindset became both her shield and her prison. When her children and grandchildren began shifting their communication from phone calls to quick text messages and group chats, Emma's first reaction was resistance. "I don't need to learn all that," she would say, brushing off their patient offers to teach her. "If they want to talk to me, they can just call." Her words held a stubbornness born from fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of feeling out of place in a world that was changing too fast. But slowly, painfully, the calls started to dwindle. Family updates, jokes, photos, and invitations flowed through screens she refused to open. She watched from the sidelines as the laughter and love carried in those messages passed her by. It wasn't just about technology. It was about feeling left out, about missing those moments that made her family feel close despite the miles. I can't help but feel a deep sadness thinking of Emma sitting alone, unaware of the smiles and celebrations happening just a few taps away. Stubbornness, while understandable, can quietly build walls of isolation around us, cutting us off from the very people we cherish most. Change can be terrifying, especially after a lifetime of doing things one way. But I truly believe that openness, even just a tiny willingness to try, can be a bridge back to connection and joy. Instead of saying, "I don't need that," what if we said, "I'll try"? That simple phrase carries so much power. It invites growth, keeps our minds sharp, and opens the door to new experiences. And it doesn't have to be done alone. Let your children or grandchildren guide you. Make learning a shared, loving journey. These moments of vulnerability and curiosity can become treasured memories. When Emma finally allowed her granddaughter to patiently teach her how to send a text, she was surprised, not only by how easy it was but by how much she had been missing. Daily snapshots of her great-grandchildren's smiles, silly jokes shared in group chats, quick check-ins filled with love and warmth, all these moments became part of her life again. By letting go of resistance, Emma didn't just learn a new skill. She rediscovered a deeper, richer connection with her family, a priceless gift that no stubbornness could ever replace. And honestly, it reminds me how sometimes the hardest step is simply to say yes to change. Because on the other side of that, yes, there's love waiting to be found. Number 4. Hoarding and refusing to let go of clutter. Emma's story touches the heart because it's so deeply human. She was always a sentimental soul, someone who treasured memories tied to every little thing around her. Her home was a living scrapbook, filled with old birthday cards yellowed with time, stacks of newspapers she had every intention to read someday, and clothes she hadn't worn in years but clung to, just in case. To an outsider, it might have looked like chaos. But to Emma, each item was a piece of her life, a chapter she wasn't ready to close. It was as if discarding those belongings meant losing a part of herself, and that thought filled her with quiet fear. At first, Emma didn't even recognize that there was a problem. "Everything here has value," she would say with a stubborn conviction. I might need it someday. Those words reveal so much: the hope, the anxiety, the nostalgia wrapped into one. But over time, the clutter became more than just things. It became a barrier, making her home harder to clean and harder to move through. It isolated her, making it difficult to welcome guests or even find peace within her walls. When her daughter gently suggested letting go of some things, Emma's resistance wasn't just about the objects. It was about confronting memories, fears, and the bittersweet reality of change. "What if I need them later?" she'd ask, her voice tinged with vulnerability. The truth is, clutter is not just physical. It weighs heavily on the mind and heart. Holding on too tightly to stuff can trap us in the past, making it difficult to fully live in and enjoy the present. I believe many of us have felt this, that tight grip on memories disguised as things, and it can be suffocating. The emotional weight of stuff can cloud our minds with stress and anxiety, leaving us feeling stuck instead of free. Breaking free from clutter doesn't have to be a daunting mountain to climb. The key is to start small: a single drawer, a single box, one shelf at a time. Trying to tackle everything all at once can feel overwhelming, and that's often why many give up before they even start. But small, steady steps are empowering. I like to remind myself to ask, do I use this? Does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, it's okay, and even healthy, to let it go. Donating, recycling, or passing treasured items on to family members who will cherish them can bring a sense of peace and purpose to the process. Turning decluttering into a gentle habit can transform not only your space but your soul. Setting a goal to remove just one item a day can gradually create a lighter, calmer environment. And beyond appearance, there's a very real safety benefit. Cluttered spaces increase the risk of falls and accidents, especially for seniors. Our homes should be havens, places that nurture both body and mind. When Emma finally took those first courageous steps toward decluttering, the transformation was nothing short of remarkable. She let go of clothes she hadn't worn in years, recycled piles of old magazines, and organized her belongings so that what remained truly mattered to her. For the first time in many years, she felt a newfound lightness and was comfortable inviting friends over again. It wasn't about losing things. It was about making room for clarity, peace, and joy. What about you? Is there something you've held onto for too long that, once released, made space for something better? I'd love to hear your story. Remember, letting go can be the first step toward freedom. Number 5. Losing patience with others too quickly. Emma never truly thought of herself as an impatient person. She always believed she was fairly understanding and calm. But one day, as she stood in line at the grocery store, something shifted. The young cashier ahead of her was taking his time, carefully bagging each item, fumbling slightly as if still getting the hang of the job. Emma felt a familiar, uncomfortable frustration rise inside her chest, swelling until it almost overwhelmed her. "Can't you move a little faster?" she muttered under her breath, shaking her head in quiet annoyance. The moment the word slipped out, Emma noticed the young man's face drop, his eyes darting downward in embarrassment. His hands trembled just a bit, a clear sign he was nervous, probably new and trying his absolute best. In that instant, a painful realization washed over Emma. Was she turning into the very person she used to quietly judge? The person who snapped too quickly, who forgot to give grace when it was needed most. Aging doesn't just bring wisdom and calm, it can sometimes bring impatience, an irritability that sneaks in with the stresses and slowdowns of daily life. And that frustration, she knew, didn't just make the world harder for those around her. It wound her up tight inside, stealing her peace and joy. So, how can we hold on to patience and kindness in moments like these? It starts with a simple pause, a breath taken before reacting. When irritation creeps in, ask yourself softly, is this moment truly worth my anger? Change the lens through which you view the situation. That slow driver on the road might be a grandfather navigating carefully, That distracted cashier could be a student struggling to balance work and school. Small acts of patience become bridges of understanding. Instead of snapping, offer a warm smile, a gentle word, take your time, and you may just brighten someone's entire day. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Emma chose to try this. The very next time she shopped, she smiled at the same young cashier and said, "You're doing a great job." His face lit up instantly, and in that moment, Emma felt something shift inside her heart, a deep truth that kindness, no matter how small, can ripple out in ways we never expect. Have you ever found yourself losing patience too quickly? How did it make you feel afterward? Maybe today is the day to slow down and let a little more grace in. Number 6. Over-talking and not listening. Emma was always the life of the conversation. She loved to share stories from her past, give advice drawn from years of experience, and revisit cherished memories that shaped her life. Talking was her way of connecting, a thread she believed kept her close to her daughter. But as time passed, Emma started to notice a painful change. Her daughter's calls became fewer and far between. And when they did talk, the rhythm felt different. The conversation seemed hurried, almost as if her daughter was anxious to end the call quickly. One evening, feeling a knot of worry tightening in her chest, Emma gently asked, "Is everything okay? You don't seem to call as much anymore." Her daughter's voice faltered, hesitant at first, before she confessed, "Mom, I love hearing your stories, but sometimes I don't feel heard. It feels like our conversations are all about you, and I hardly ever get to share what's going on with me." That moment hit Emma like a wave. She felt a mix of surprise and sadness, and a pang of regret. She hadn't realized how often she took over their conversations, cutting in with her own experiences before her daughter could finish, offering advice without truly listening, or steering the talk back to herself without meaning to. It was a harsh truth to face, but also a necessary one. As we grow older, it's so easy to fall into this pattern. We want to share our wisdom, our hard-earned lessons, because we care deeply. But if we forget to listen, to open space for others, the people we love might start to drift away, feeling unheard and unseen. So, how do we break this cycle? How do we create conversations that nurture connection rather than push it away? The key is balance. Balancing talking with listening. When you find yourself holding the floor for too long, pause and ask, "What about you? How have things been for you lately?" Resist the urge to interrupt, even when a story bubbles up inside you begging to be told. Let the other person finish, fully, without rushing to respond. Ask open-ended questions that invite sharing, like, "What's something exciting or challenging you experienced this week?" instead of a simple, "How are you?" This kind of question opens the door to real, heartfelt dialogue. And most importantly, be present. Put down your phone, quiet your thoughts, and listen. Not just waiting for your turn to talk, but hearing with your heart. Emma took this lesson to heart. The next time her daughter called, she made a conscious effort to listen. She asked thoughtful questions, gave space for her daughter's feelings, and held back advice unless it was welcomed. Slowly but surely, something beautiful blossomed between them. Their conversations grew longer, warmer, filled with laughter, vulnerability, and genuine connection. Emma discovered that the best conversations aren't about how much you talk, they're about how deeply you listen. Have you ever felt that sting of being unheard in a conversation? Or perhaps you've noticed yourself doing all the talking, unintentionally shutting down the connection? It's a gentle reminder for all of us. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can give our loved ones is the gift of truly listening. Number 7. Pushing people away instead of asking for help. Emma had always taken immense pride in her independence. For decades, she was the rock for everyone around her, raising her children with unwavering dedication, managing a busy household with grace, and lending a helping hand to neighbors without hesitation. Independence wasn't just a trait for Emma. It was a core part of her identity. It gave her a sense of dignity and control over her life. But as the years crept on, those simple daily tasks that once felt effortless began to weigh heavily on her. The reality was hard to face. Her strength was no longer boundless. One quiet afternoon, after a routine trip to the grocery store, Emma found herself struggling to lift a heavy bag from the trunk of her car. The weight seemed far greater than it should have been, her back twinging painfully with every movement. A kind young man passing by noticed her struggle. "Need a hand with that?" he asked gently, with genuine concern in his eyes. Emma, stubborn as ever, forced a small, polite smile, shook her head, and replied, "No, thank you, I've got it." But deep down, she knew she didn't. As she dragged the bag inside, a sharp ache radiated through her back, but what hurt even more was the tightening in her chest, a knot of frustration, loneliness, and pride clashing inside her. In that moment, she realized a painful truth. By refusing that simple offer of help, she was isolating herself. She had pushed away someone who only wanted to share a small part of her burden. Her pride, once a shield, was now a barrier cutting her off from connection and warmth. Why is asking for help a sign of strength, not weakness? It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that needing others means you're a burden or somehow less capable. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Asking for help is a brave act of vulnerability and trust. It says, "I'm human, and I accept that we're meant to lean on each other." People want to help. It's part of our shared humanity. When you say yes, you open the door to kindness, to genuine connection. Accepting help doesn't make you weaker. It makes your relationships richer and your heart lighter. Imagine how lonely life feels when you push everyone away. Not just physically carrying your load, but emotionally standing alone on an island. And think about the people around you. Don't they want to feel needed, to give, to be part of your life? When you let them help, you're giving them a precious gift, the chance to express love, care, and compassion. So, how can someone like Emma change this deeply ingrained habit? It starts small. The next time someone offers help, try to hear it not as a threat to your independence, but as a hand extended in friendship. Practice saying, "Yes, that would be wonderful, thank you." If you feel overwhelmed, don't hesitate to ask directly, "Could you please help me with this?" Those simple words can be bridges to connection. And here's what happened next. The very next time Emma went to the store, she spotted the same young man who had offered help before. This time, she smiled openly and said, "Actually, I could use a little help today." His face lit up with warmth as he grabbed her bag, and in that small, shared moment, Emma felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. She felt connected, seen, and cared for. Number 8. Being too frugal to enjoy life. Emma had always been the epitome of carefulness when it came to money. She clipped coupons with precision, skipped vacations year after year, and agonized over every purchase that wasn't essential. Even though her bank account held a comfortable cushion, she was haunted by a quiet, persistent worry. What if I need this money later? What if something unexpected happens tomorrow? This fear wasn't just about dollars and cents. It was about control, about safety, about a deep-rooted anxiety that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't prepared enough. One afternoon, Emma's best friend Sarah called her with an invitation that stirred something unexpected inside her. A weekend trip to the countryside. "Come on, Emma," Sarah said warmly. "It'll be fun. We'll explore beautiful trails, savor delicious meals, and just breathe. You deserve a break." At first, Emma's instinct was to say no. Travel costs money. Eating out, that's extra spending. She could list a dozen practical reasons to decline without missing a beat. But beneath her cautious mind, a small voice whispered, "When was the last time you treated yourself? When did you last just live for a moment, not for tomorrow's worries?" Emma realized she had spent years, maybe decades, tucking away money for a vague one day that never really felt quite real. She had been so focused on saving for a future she feared might never come that she forgot the importance of the present moment, the precious, fleeting now. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Why does enjoying your money truly matter? While financial responsibility is undeniably important, life's richness isn't measured in bank statements or emergency funds alone. It's the laughter shared over a meal, the thrill of discovering new places, and the warmth of memories made with loved ones that nourish the soul far more than any material possession. Research confirms that spending on experiences, travel, hobbies, outings, leaves a deeper, longer-lasting imprint on our happiness than buying things that lose their sparkle quickly. You worked tirelessly to reach this stage of your life. Isn't it time you savor it? Money is a tool meant to support your joy, not just gather dust in a vault. While security feels comforting, true fulfillment comes from balance, balancing prudent saving with heartfelt living. So, how can someone like Emma change this habit? It starts with permission. Giving yourself the grace to spend on what makes your heart sing, whether that's a lovely dinner, a creative hobby, or a short escape from everyday routine. Try setting up a fun fund, a special portion of your savings dedicated solely to joy and experience. Ask yourself honestly, if not now, then when? Life is too precious to postpone happiness endlessly. In the end, Emma said yes to that weekend trip. Those 2 days filled with laughter, fresh air, and connection were worth far more than any penny saved. Watching the sunset beside her dear friend, she understood at last. This was exactly what she had been saving for all along. Number 9. Talking down to younger generations. Emma had always adored her grandson Noah with a tenderness that filled her heart. She eagerly awaited his visits, cherishing those precious moments when laughter and stories intertwined across generations. But recently, something had shifted. Their once warm and easy conversations had grown shorter, stiffer, and oddly distant. It pained Emma to feel this invisible wall rising between them, yet she couldn't quite understand why. Noah used to excitedly share his school adventures, his favorite video games, and even silly jokes. But now, when he brought up the new app he loved, Emma found herself sighing deeply, shaking her head almost out of habit. "Back in my day," she said softly but firmly, "we didn't need all these gadgets. Kids went outside and played instead of staring at screens all day." The room fell heavy with silence. Noah's eyes dropped to his phone, and after a moment, he murmured, "I should probably get going," and quietly left. As the door clicked shut behind him, Emma's chest tightened with a sudden pang of regret. She hadn't meant to shut him out or make him feel small. All she wanted was for him to understand how different life was when she was young, to appreciate the simple joys that seemed lost in this fast-moving world. But had her words done the opposite? Had she unknowingly pushed him away by talking down to him? It's a heartbreaking but common trap. When older generations look back with nostalgia and compare their experiences to the present, it's easy to fall into the habit of criticizing what the young do differently. Yet, constantly telling younger people that things were better back then doesn't build bridges, it builds walls. It risks making them feel dismissed, judged, or misunderstood, as if their realities don't hold value. I believe real connection comes from curiosity, not condescension. Instead of shutting down their world, we should invite them to share it, to show us what excites them and why. Every generation faces unique challenges and opportunities. Honoring that truth allows us to meet them where they are. Emma's story reminded me that bonding isn't about changing them, it's about embracing them. The next time Noah came over, Emma tried something different. When he talked about his game, she smiled warmly and asked, "What do you like most about it?" His face lit up as he dove into the strategy and teamwork involved. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, laughter returned, and he lingered longer than before. Emma realized that understanding and encouragement, not judgment, were the keys to keeping love alive across generations. Have you ever felt a similar disconnect with someone younger? What helped you bridge that gap? Sharing these moments honestly might just inspire others to open their hearts, too. Thank you so much for watching and joining me in exploring these heartfelt stories and important lessons. Now, I want to hear from you. What have you learned so far from Emma's experiences? Is there one insight or idea that stood out to you and that you plan to bring into your own life? Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Your voice matters, and your story might inspire someone else in our community. If you found this video meaningful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Together, we can build a supportive space where we all grow, connect, and thrive, no matter our age. See you in the next video.